I don't want to play it safe. I can't get there if I don't take a risk. So I thought, I know I'm smart. If this doesn't work out, I can always find another job. I can reinvent myself.
This is a journey.
Let me take you on a journey.
Welcome to Her Journey, presented by Kudzukian Media Group.
We believe Her Journey will encourage young women and help them see that life is a journey.
You have to continue to walk in your purpose.
We cannot control how other people respond to us.
As long as you have breath in your body, story does not end. Every day that God grants you, you have an opportunity to rewrite your story.
We believe Her Journey will encourage young women and help them see that life is a journey. Watch Her Journey, hosted by me, Joy Doss, brought to you by the Kudzukian Media Group and proudly sponsored by Nike, Black Community Commitment.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Her Journey, presented by Kudzukian Media Group. I am your host, Joy Doss, and I am once again in conversation with a phenomenal woman. We are talking to the most successful women in Memphis. And as we like to say, this is our contribution to the solution. Our phenomenal woman of the half hour today is Dana Pointer. She is the CEO of Persevering Partners. Dana, welcome to Her Journey.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No, thank you. So, lady CEO, we love a lady boss. But before that, you started as the COO of Persevering Partners.
Yes.
So that is, Chief Operating Officer. Tell us about that. Why you joined? Well, first, let's rewind, because Persevering Partners is an alternative investment management company. Yes. So what does that mean? Let's start with what that means first, and then we'll talk about your entree into the company and how you moved along.
Sure.
Over the years.
Sure. Well, again, thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here with Her Journey. An alternative investment management firm is an investment management firm that invests in alternatives. And what alternatives are investment securities that are not marketable securities. So they are more private. They're your private equity, your investments or assets that are not your typical stocks and bonds or marketable securities or the typical securities that you would find on like the New York Stock Exchange or that you can they have daily liquidity. So alternatives there's a multitude of alternatives. And what Preserver does is we invest in niche strategies, very unique investments that we have a very wide mandate. It will go to any asset class. And just for the everyday person who's not familiar with investments, alternatives are only geared toward institutional and high net worth individual clients. So you have to be an accredited investor. And so Preserver, our clients are institutional, pension plans, foundations and endowments, family offices. And we do also have some high net worth and ultra high net worth clients. So the genesis of that is that you have to be a sophisticated investor because they're very risky.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so alternatives are so-called risky investments.
Right. So don't bet the farm.
Don't bet the farm. Any investor in an alternative, you have to, that you're taking a risk and you know that you could possibly lose your money.
You have to be able to take it on the chin.
Absolutely.
If it goes left.
There's good upside also.
But that's interesting. You guys are a Black owned and operated company.
Yes.
Working with high net worth individuals and institutions. Talk about that. That is, we'll still go back to your pathway, but talk about that part. That is interesting. Are you the only company here?
In Memphis, yes.
Mm-hmm.
In Memphis, yes. And really in this region, we are the only minority owned or diverse owned asset management firm.
Wow.
That looks like
woman owned as well?
Yes, we're woman owned. I am the majority owner. I have a partner who is Caroline Lovelace. She's fairly new. But Dr. Floyd Tyler started the firm. He founded the firm in 2009. I joined him when he started the firm, and you brought up a good point that we're African Americans in this industry where you do not see a lot of people that look like us.
Yeah.
And that was one of the reasons that Floyd and I were so dedicated to Preserver. One of the reasons why Preserver is still around today, even after the unfortunate passing of my partner Floyd, it's just not. We're a unicorn. We're not typical. There are a lot of minority-owned, Black-owned firms nationwide, globally, but especially the South is just very. It's not your typical. It's not what you typically see, and so in this industry. You hear a lot about diverse managers, emerging managers having a problem, raising capital and getting investors. There's, trillions of dollars out there in the investment management world being managed, and it's less than 1% being managed by people that look like me. And so having built this firm for 14 years and where we are today, it feels really good to be where we are, which is one of the reasons why I was committed to keeping Preserver around after Floyd's death.
So you started, and that's the perfect setup for our question leading in the break. I will come back to that. But you started as the COO of Preserver. So tell us about how you came to Preserver and what that path looked like. Was that what you studied? Did you know you wanted to be in finance in school or?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Not. It literally fell in my lap.
Because women in finance, you got to talk about that. Like, how did you get here?
A windy road. I went to college as a freshman as a communications major. I wanted to be a news anchor woman.
Okay.
I wanted to be on the news. I could see that. I wanted to start local news and go to sports, and that was really what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. My freshman year, I was mass communications major. That summer, was at home after my freshman year. My mom's like, what do you want to do? And she knew, I wanted to be in the public eye, and I used to watch BET, mm-hmm. and I'm like, that's what I want to do. That's what I want. That's what I want to do. I was watching BET News.
Yeah.
And then my mom pulled out the commercial appeal, the want ad. Not the want ad, it's the classifieds. Mm-hmm. That's way back in the day. So
before all the job boards, there was the newspaper.
Classified. Yes, the classifieds. That's where all
young girls are looking. There's a newspaper. You have to go look at it.
And you used to just kind of look for your area, for your area, your industry that you want to be in, and see what the jobs were.
And it was in alphabetical order.
Yep,
there was no sort function.
It was so cool. But we sat at the kitchen table, and my mom says, "Okay, let's see what jobs are out there in communications." Now, my mom worked at the post office. My dad was a railroad. So I had two blue collar parents, made a great living for us. But they had the mindset of go to college so that you get out of college and you can get a job. Mm-hmm. We sat down at the table and didn't see many anchor women roles or positions. There was no want ads or classifieds for that. But what we did find, I've always been good in math, numbers, very, very, it was a natural for me. Anything financial, I was always really good with, even as a kid. And so we saw 2 pages full of accountants. So left that table that day. My mom says, you really need to think about this because you want to make sure you have a job when you get out of college. Really think about what your major is going to be. Well, I went back as a sophomore, changed my major to accounting. Mm-hmm. 2 totally different worlds.
Yeah, it is.
Communications, accounting.
Yeah.
I had more of a communications personality, but I was really, really good in accounting. So changed my major to accounting. I excelled, graduated with an accounting degree, got out of college immediately. About 3 months after graduating, I took a job at Promise where I was customer service, making reservations for Hilton hotels. But 3 months later, I had been on lots of interviews for accounting roles. I was hired. I got a job at First Tennessee Bank at that time as an accountant, as a staff accountant, entry-level position. I started at First Tennessee downtown Memphis as an accountant. About a year in, a colleague of mine had moved over to what was then the bond division with First Tennessee. It's a separate department of the bank. I liked what I was doing, and, I was 22 years old, feeling good, making my own money, had moved out of my parents' house, had a roommate, was just living the life of a young working woman.
Yeah.
And I got a call from a colleague that moved out to the bond division and said, girl, you wouldn't believe the environment is over here, because she had actually left where I was and went out there, and she was like the HR person. She was in recruiting.
Oh, okay.
And she said it's major out here. It's like a different world. They're investments. They're investing fixed income bonds, and it's totally different from where you are. And I think that you need to be out here. And I'm like, really? What are bonds? What's fixed income? So I started reading, and she says there was a job opening for a controller, assistant controller. So I, she kind of got me thinking. I'm like, it sounds good to me. And, we always heard about the bond division, and I just knew that it was the place where the big dogs were.
Yeah.
So after talking to her, she sent me over a job description. And I was already working in accounting and an assistant controller. It was being the assistant to the controller of that department, which is an accounting role. I applied for the job, went out there. I got the job. I had been there for a year. Mm-hmm. Got the job, moved over to the bond division, and it truly was a different world.
So that puts you on the path to where you are now, and then, but within those movements, like the bond division, all of those positions in finance, which we'll talk more about that as well. When did you realize your path or your journey as a Black woman was going to be different? So you don't have to answer it now. We're going to take a break and let you think about it. So come back to that question, because this is really even more so interesting, given that you're existing in this rare air. You're in this world of finance, which is rare air for both Black people and women. So I will wait on that answer. We'll be right back with more from Dana Pointer on her journey, presented by Kudzukian Media Group.